Hey, thanks so much for downloading the episode. We are back from vacation, and on the show this week, we are recapping some of what we did while we were on break, along with your H-Uglee and Awkward Moments of the week. Lots to talk about. Thank you so much. Enjoy the show.
It's another uncensored look at the world around you, from sisters who will say just about anything to anyone at any time. It's the Uggs. Jamie.
Don't fuck with me, boys.
Paula.
I'm Mexican! What is going on?
Uncensored as always, it's time for the Ugly Truth.
Welcome to the Ugly Truth. It is episode 379.
Oh, we are Sisters Who Podcast. Sorry.
Okay, you've been off for almost 2 weeks.
I know.
I expect you to forget. Trust me, it's fine. We're back. We're back. Remember that from The Hangover when they think they're getting their friend back? He's like, we're getting it back. What is that from?
I have
That's
no
The
idea.
Hangover.
Sounds like a song
Yeah.
Mom would sing.
Well, the guy in the movie definitely was like our mother. Anyway, so welcome to the Ugly Truth. We are back from our little mini break, our little mini summer vacation.
God, felt like a epic long. I don't know, like everything happened when the break was gone, and I felt like I needed to walk around with a little notepad because I'm just like, there's so much going on.
I know. I do. You know what? I totally did that. What happened? Something big happened like the instant we took a break.
Bradley Cooper and his girlfriend broke up literally like the day after we. And then
I know.
But there was something else that happened too.
Yeah.
It wasn't that though. I can't remember. Now it's old news.
Well, everything's old news the next 24 hours. But yes.
Dang it. It was a big deal too.
Why didn't you write it down?
You know me. I can't remember anything.
Which is why you write it down.
I don't know.
Anyway, so many things have gone on in our lives in like 10 days. It was the longest 10 days of my life because I had no podcast to vomit it all up to anyone. I had to like keep it to myself. So, but Paula, I swear, I thought about you the entire time thinking, I cannot wait to tell her all of these things. There's so many things. Okay, so to start off, we better just get into it because we have so many things. We might have to do 3 shows, like I told you.
Yeah, it's possible.
There's so many things. Okay, the first thing was we did our break. We're like, yay, we're taking a break. And then a day later, our baby of the family is graduating from high school. Now, this feels like a whole lifetime ago now because so much has happened since then. Mm-hmm. But there was graduation was coming. Big high school, our final kid. It's a monumental day for us, or a momentous day, because we have successfully squired through 4 children through the legally required education program in California. And it feels really good. And they all made it. Thank God. They all got a diploma. Nobody left with a meth addiction or anything like that. We got it through.
Pregnant or drop out or...
No pregnancies, nothing.
That's good.
Hey, low expectations, but we did it.
Passing grades, that's all you need.
So it was funny because, you know, this is the season for graduations. And what I've noticed the pattern is that Sac State, all the local universities, their graduations are in the evening because they're normal and sane people who have jobs. And, you know, they're kind of basically wedging in this evening event to get their diploma officially and, you know, celebrate afterwards. Mm-hmm. Whereas the high school, our high school specifically, has it at 8 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday. Because why not? Because what else do we all have to do? You know, we've got nothing else going on, so why not, right?
Right.
It's so ridiculous. And what's more ridiculous is, especially if you're not a morning person like I am, doors open at like 6:30 in the morning to get your seats. And there are almost 500 people graduating, which means 500 kids, 8 tickets each. Most people are using all 8 tickets. So you do the math because I can't. So however many people that is. Luckily, Mackenzie, my daughter, she's a pastry chef, and so she's accustomed to getting up at 4 a.m. every day.
Right.
So she was up at the crack of dawn, and she was coming over at 6 to borrow a dress because she doesn't have a whole lot of nice dresses. And so she was coming over between 6 and 6:30. Natalie is from Virginia, so time change, she's up and ready to go at like 4 a.m.
Oh, right.
Right. And so, and of course, we have Daryl's dad, who is in his 70s, who is up by 5 a.m. every day. So
God. So
everyone's a morning
just
person but me.
You were the problem, right?
I'm the problem, shockingly. So Malia leaves. Mackenzie and Natalie decide to go to the school and procure chairs for all of us. They get there at 6:30, and there's already a line to get into the school to get chairs. And Natalie got there first, and she texted Mackenzie and said, hey, I'm already in this long-ass line, and it's 6:30. And so Mackenzie flees and goes to get in line to help secure chairs. So by the time we leave, I mean, we must have left at like 7:20. Paula, at some point in my brain, I'm going, this is inappropriate. Like, this is so early. What are we doing? Even if I had a job, I wouldn't be leaving this early in the morning. So finally we arrive. Daryl has this big, huge honking truck now. So we can park anywhere we want. So nice. He parked in a place that was super close. I, of course, had to wear nice shoes because I'm not going to wear flip-flops or, tennis shoes. So I'm wearing really cute heels and a dress, and I look great. And except at some point, I feel like I'm just being drug along because I'm just not coherent yet. Mm-hmm. And our mother, who has never missed a graduation, is going to show up at the front door because they were being really strict about tickets because there were so many graduates that you had to give the ticket back to get in, and there was no in and out privileges. So we're all sitting there and we're all there. It's like 7:45 and our mom is nowhere to be found. Now,
for God's sake,
that is not normal. She's normally there before anybody else. Like, she's usually super early or on time because she's a morning person. So I call and I'm not getting through because I have crappy service at a school, God forbid. Finally, I text her, and then she finally answers. I go, hey, we're here. Are you coming? She goes, I'm walking out the door. I'm like, you're walking out the door? I'm like, all right. Well, I guess one of us we can't leave. We've got to meet you at the front. So you're going to have to like come up and, whatever. She's like, no problem. So all of a sudden, 5 or 6 minutes later, she just saunters over to the row. And I was like, Mom, I'm like, how did you get in? She goes, what? I walked. And I said, no, they're really strict about tickets. She goes, well, they didn't ask me for one. I just walked in. And I said, well, all right. As per the usual.
Yeah.
Mom just owns the place and just walks
in
right
with
in.
Confidence. Do you think anyone was going to stop her?
She's like, maybe they thought I was a teacher. I'm like, maybe they did. So she's like, they don't need tickets.
We don't need no stinking tickets.
The whole process seems ridiculous because our mom just walked right in with a swagger that said, I don't need a ticket. She came in and sat down.
Don't mess with me. I'm not messing with your fucking ticket system.
Don't mess with me, boys.
Listen, pal.
Listen, buckwheat.
I was just going to say that.
Like, you can't tell. I don't remember when it was, but at some point I said, Mom, you can't say that to people. And she's like, why not? And I go, well, because it's...
Do you know who buckwheat is?
Yeah, I go, it's a little racially charged. And she's like, what are you talking about? So she's like, it's from the Little Rascals. I'm like, yeah, exactly.
Jeez.
So... Anyway, she's like, listen, pal. So when she acts like that, it reminds me of Joan Crawford. Don't fuck with me, boys.
Wouldn't it be nice just to hear her say that once?
It would be funny. So we take up our 8 tickets and we're watching, and it's great. Tyler even came with his girlfriend, Erin. And so that was really super fun. And it was really nice to have the whole fam together, all of us. It was really cool because it's so rare now because everyone's living their lives. Anyway, so it was really great. Afterwards, we took a couple of photos and then we head home and time to prepare for the big party.
Yes.
That you didn't get to go to, which you're going to explain, I'm sure, in a minute. We get home, and of course, Daryl and his dad are already like, Bloody Marys, let's go, post haste, celebrate. Yeah. It's time to celebrate. So they break out the vodka, and they start drinking Bloody Marys, and it's like, 10:30 at this point.
God.
But here's what was funny, I forgot to tell you. So I don't know what it is about us, the campus women, but Mom... obviously everything's great. We're going to take her home because it would be a pain in the butt to wait for Paul to come and get her with all the traffic and stuff. And Daryl can boonie over everything. So it's me and Daryl's dad, and our mother. And so now I don't know.
Oh, God.
I can't figure out what it is about it, but I think it's because Daryl's dad is very handsome, and he is. He's a handsome dude,
And he does like blondes.
and he does like blondes, and so I don't know what it is, but
Thank God it was only a 5-minute car ride.
Mom suddenly remembers she's a woman or something. It's so funny. I'm trying to word it because I don't think Daryl was even aware at all.
Well, Daryl doesn't recognize those things.
He is a little oblivious. When women literally have to throw themselves at him for him to realize that maybe she finds him attractive, So it's possible. But Gary is a seasoned veteran of this world. So there's always this weird energy whenever
he is not shy about his...
There's always a weird energy when our mom is around, when he's around. I don't know what it is. It's nothing threatening or weird. It's like two people of the same age.
I think it's because she's the queen bee of all these beautiful daughters.
It's possible. And she's not an ugly person. She's an attractive woman. And so anyway, I said, Mom, let me help you because, Daryl's got this humongous truck with no running boards. And so you basically have to fling yourself into it to get in. And I mean, it's caused more fights already between the two of us because I've hit my elbow on things trying to get in and out of that fucking thing. And so she's like, no, I got it. Suddenly our mother is spry and fit. And able to do
I thought you were going to
things.
tell me Gary offered to help her, and I would have been like, "Oh my God!"
No. He got in, and it's not his job to do that. So it's Daryl and I. We're like, "Come on, help me." She's like, "I've got it." She's like, "Paul has a truck. I know how to maneuver in a vehicle." We're like, "All right."
Well, excuse me, Miss Independent Woman. The shoes on your feet. She bought them.
But when Mom left, it was so funny. Here's a couple of the things that our mother had to say about me. I had a really pretty dress on that I got at Nordstrom. It was shorter. It was not a long, obviously, dress. But it wasn't like my boobs were hanging out. It was just short. It was above the knee. But it was a really pretty dress. So we're sitting down at the graduation, and Mom she leans over and she goes, that dress would look fabulous with maybe a white legging. And I said, are you trying to tell me you think it's too short? She goes, well, yes. She goes, but maybe you can wear it in Hawaii. Nobody minds about those things there.
You know what, though? She'd never tell me something like that.
Well, I don't know. I only know what I know. And so I left to go find Malia, and she pulls Mackenzie aside, and she goes, you check your mother's skirt. You make sure that thing doesn't ride up. I'm like, it is not a micro mini. It was barely above the knee. I mean, it was not anything. And I'm like, I don't look inappropriate. I got so many compliments on that dress.
Yeah.
Of course, then I became self-conscious.
You shouldn't have.
Well, I mean, what are you going to do? Your mom says your dress is too short.
Yeah, but Mom is like a matron. I mean.
And then, of course, my hair's too long. I need to have it cut into something more adult.
Adult? Mom, you're 70. You're a senior.
So apparently, I'm not dressing for my age, nor is my hair for my age. And I'm like,
the last
wow.
time she's looked at a fashion magazine.
It's
and
funny
seen
because
what age is appropriate for hair.
What's funny is that she's been delivering those lines to me since I was 20.
Yes.
You're the one that's supposed to be the religious legacy. I'm the one that's supposed to carry on the conservative look until the day I die.
Right.
So there's that. So Daryl is walking our parents out because I was doing something at the party, and he walked them out. And it's on video because we have security cams. Mm-hmm. And so she's like, I'm so proud of you guys. The children are amazing. You've raised them so well. And Daryl goes, oh, well, this is Jamie. Jamie is the one that raised them. That's why they're so great. I'm just there to support her. She goes, oh, please, Jamie's mean. I raised her. I know exactly what she's like. And then walks away. I'm like, what? Mm-hmm. I'm like, all right. He goes, but she said it in a joking fashion. I'm like, let's go to the tape.
She wasn't joking.
He wasn't joking. And I was like, wow.
That's sarcasm.
Yeah. And I'm like, that was a 3-alarm fire, man. I got nailed for all the things.
So that would bring me to my reason.
Yes.
I was coming.
Can I just tell you, nobody was mad. We were just super bummed. because we knew how much fun it would be.
Here's what happened is that I was getting ready, and then I realized that, my hair wasn't coming out, my makeup didn't look right, my clothes, I changed outfit like 15 times. And then I felt like I was running out of time, but then I'm like, this thing goes till 8:00. I said, so there's really no rush.
Right.
And so then we were about to leave, and then Victor's car, it had broken down, like this major repair. What we had discovered online is a lot of people had that problem. And so we discussed about him calling the dealership, and I said it may not be a recall. I said, but they might be repairing it like for free because it's been a major problem. And so that's exactly what it was. But they had to keep it a couple days, and so they said it would be ready Friday. This thing was on Thursday. Well, they called at 5:00 and said it was ready. And so I'm like, all right, well, on our way out, we'll drop you off at the dealership.
Right.
That's when you texted or called me or something. I can't remember what happened. You're like, well, by the time you get here, Malia's going to be leaving. And I'm like, leaving? I'm like, I thought this thing went until 8.
Yeah.
And so I was really disappointed.
She had a dinner party at 6, but she pushed it as far as she could, hoping you guys would show up.
Right. And so we were under the impression she was going to be there till 8:00. And so when I told the kids that she wasn't going to be there by the time we got there, they were really bothered and they were like upset. And so I said, do you want to go? I said, because Auntie Jamie says like it's probably going to be wrapping up and over. So we just decided to stay home because it just sounded like there was no reason to go at that point.
Right. Stephanie showed up at like 8. She showed up at the very end. And I was like, oh, you came. I was like, well, shit. But like I said, at 6:30, everyone left. And then suddenly not a whole shift. I mean, 2 big families with little ones showed up. By the way, Alicia's little girl, I think she's 3. She was so hilarious.
Oh, really?
She saw this giant cake and went, oh, can I have a piece of cake? And I said, you absolutely can have a piece of cake. So I gave her a piece of cake, and she loved it so much, she walked over to the cake and tried to cut her own piece with a fork. But she wanted the corner where there was a lot of frosting. And she was hacking away at that thing. And then one of her parents turned around. She goes, oh, my God, no, wait. And I said, no, she can do it. It's fine. So I cut the piece for her, and she inhaled it. And so I said, well, we should probably move the cake so she can't continue to serve herself cake.
Right.
It's sitting on the tiny table. So we moved it over to the other big table. And she walked over there, and she put her little hand out and started pulling that cake towards her. And I said, all right, well, apparently this isn't sufficient. She's just going to continue. I mean, I feel her. I could eat 3 pieces of cake.
Well, when you're 3, you can.
I know. No, listen. Anyone can eat 3 pieces of cake. It's just that she's going to burn it off before she falls asleep tonight.
Probably.
Where the rest of us will be dealing with it for a month. So,
Right.
Anyway, so it was a super fun party. It lasted a really long time. Of course, our sister, the tornado, comes in, and she's just like, rah, 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 and she has broken her toe, by the way.
What?
Yes.
How did that happen?
Awkward moment.
Kicked some furniture?
No, actually, I asked her that, and she said, no, it was not that. She was doing what I would be doing. She wants things done when she wants them done. We had a really bad windy storm wind come through that week, and they have a tree, and a limb fell off the tree, literally like broke off of their tree, and it was this big stump. It was probably, like the size of a, I don't know, tire or something. And it was in their front yard, and she was telling her husband, hey, I need you to like cut this up and get rid of it. It's an eyesore on our lawn. So he cut it up, but he didn't move all of it. And it had been like 3 days, and she was sick of it. So she pulls up from work, sees it sitting in the lawn, and gets angry. So she walks over and decides she's going to pick it up and move it. So she picks it up, and she's like, oh my God, this thing's heavy. But she's now determined, because now she's like a hornet. She's pissed.
Right.
So she's like, God damn it, I got to do everything myself. So she's waddling with it because it's so heavy. And so she kind of dropped it as she was setting it down, and it landed right on her foot.
Ow.
And she said, Jamie, the pain was so severe, I couldn't even cry. Like, it was so bad. I'd never felt pain like that before. I go, actually, I've seen you feel pain like that before when you were in labor with your daughter.
Yes.
You literally can't breathe. And she said, yes, She didn't know what was going to happen, but it is broken. No doubt. It's black and purple, and she has to wear flip-flops.
Is it the big toe? Or?
Yes. And when she took her shoe off when she got home the next day, her toe was like scary big. Scary big. And so she's like, so now I have to wear flip-flops to work like some kind of white trash. And I said, well,
she doesn't have to do any of this. She should just go to the urgent care and get an x-ray.
Well, and I asked her that. I go, why don't you just go to the doctor and have them, take a peek? And she's like, what are they going to do? Give me tape? And I said, well, yeah, and maybe Motrin, like extreme level Motrin or Tylenol.
Or maybe find out that she broke it into a joint and it needs surgery or something.
Well, it doesn't look whack. It just looks purple and black. It's just not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she's wearing the flips. And, the fact that I even have to direct my eyes toward the bottom of the,
I know.
I mean, and you and I are going to be talking about your situation as well.
Oh, my God.
You are preparing to send your children off on a road trip with your ex. Mm-hmm. They're going to Oklahoma.
For years now, he's been wanting to take a road trip.
Yeah.
From here to Oklahoma. He just thinks road trips are the best. He remembers doing them as a kid because, when his family, they went back and forth to Oklahoma, they always did it in the car because, no one could afford airplanes.
Sure.
And so that's just how they did it. And he said they always had the best time. And so it was nothing I was ever interested in doing myself. But I said, if it's something you want to do with the kids, that's fine. And so I never really thought about the time frame, like how long it was going to take. So over the last few months, we've done some negotiating because initially he wanted to take him for a month. And I said, absolutely not.
That's crazy.
Because he wanted to spend 2 weeks in Oklahoma and then 1 week there, 1 week back. And I said, no. And so I agreed to 2 weeks. And so that would be like basically 2 to 3 days there, and then 2 to 3 days back, and then a week in Oklahoma. Right. And I said, all right, that's fine. And then yesterday when they left, I'm like, why did I do this? Why did I agree to this? I put pretty heavy rules in place. The thing is when you have kids with someone, as long as you're a family and everything's good, then you feel like you have control over certain things.
Sure.
But when you're split up, you can't obviously prevent your children from being with their parents, because
right.
there's really nothing wrong with him.
No.
I mean, he's gotten to be a better parent, but
he's just not you.
He's not me. His family is definitely not like me.
Right.
There's just some things I wouldn't want my children exposed to. Right. And so fortunately he understands that and he can appreciate where I'm coming from.
Sure.
And so, he's going to be mindful of those things. The Midwest is quite a bit different than California.
Indeed it is.
There's certain things that they're less tolerant of, I should say.
They don't like Mexicans. They don't like our people.
They do not. And they've made that clear for the last 14 years.
Yes.
And, knowing full well that I'm half Mexican.
Right.
And knowing full well that their grandchildren, even though they don't look it, are a quarter Mexican.
That is actually a really big thing. Well, apparently in this country, it's a big thing that if you don't look what you are, it's fine.
It's like it doesn't count or something.
Yeah, like it doesn't count, but it really does count. I mean, I've had conversations with people and I say, no, I'm fully half Mexican. So.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, you can look at other people who are half Mexican and they look 100% Mexican.
Yeah.
But then you look at people like us, and I think it's just because mom has very strong Swedish, Irish genes.
She's very Swedish. Yes.
That it kind of counteracts the Mexican. I don't know.
Well, it does because, I mean, look at our sister Allison. She has dark, almost black hair, Mexican hair, but she's pale as a ghost.
She is. She looks like olive oil.
She's so fair-skinned. She haunts her own house.
So we were talking to the kids a little bit about, situations that might come up, and if it makes them uncomfortable, to come talk to Dad. Because, obviously he can't be everywhere at the time.
Right.
Victor had mentioned sometimes they talk about the damn Mexicans, and Olivia's she's like, what's wrong with being Mexican? She's
Nothing.
I'm Mexican.
Yes, you are.
And so I said, you know what? And if they mention that, say that. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm like, nothing's going to happen.
Nope.
But anyways, so they left yesterday. They're going to be gone for 2 weeks. And
2 weeks.
I don't even know what I'm going to do with myself.
Yes, you do.
I started crying yesterday.
Well, that's normal.
I felt like someone had ripped my chest out.
It's the first time they've been away from you this long. That's why.
Yeah.
You need to take a selfish and think about, yourself during the times when, they don't need you. They're driving, they're having a good time. Now is the time for you to focus on, you're taking some classes right now, so you can focus on that. But just like when Daryl has to do spreadsheets for 10 hours a day, you can't do it the whole time. You've got to do other things. You've got to go come see me, or go shopping, or go to you like going to the casino or whatever. I mean, you should definitely be doing some stuff that doesn't require you to sit and obsess over where your kids are. They're fine. I mean, we all agree they're fine. They're just going to come back and need a significant shower. Yes. Other than that, they're going to be great.
They'll need some decontamination in many facets.
Yes. And so the thing is for me, God, Paula, I don't even know what I would do with myself for 2 weeks if I had 2 weeks by myself. It almost makes me want to have an orgasm. It's it's such an amazing thought.
Well, here's the problem, though, is Victor had saved some money for this trip. And naturally, a month or so ago, he spent it all.
Oh.
And I said, and this was Saturday, we were having this discussion. And I said, Ryan's packed, Olivia's packed, your clothes are all ready, right? He's just like, well, that's what we were going to do tomorrow if I got off work early. I'm like, if you got off work early, I see. So I said, you've not saved a dime. I said, nobody's packed. You don't even know if anyone's laundry's done. You're just letting the kids get their clothes together. The 9-year-old and the irresponsible 13-year-old.
Right.
They'll probably bring like a pair of socks and dirty underwear.
Or all their toys, which is how that tends to go.
And did you even remind them they need to bring toothbrushes and whatever else? I'm sure their car bags are fine because they've got all the stuff they need for the car ride.
So were you not helping them pack?
No, nothing.
Oh.
This was his trip.
Oh, I see. So you weren't going to, you were assisting it, not at all.
No, because this was his thing. And I
know,
wasn't
but they're your children. You should at least make sure they have clean underwear and a toothbrush.
Well, that was my way of basically saying, like, get your ass in gear and don't be staying up until 3 a.m. Right. And then taking off at 5 a.m. on 2 hours sleep, driving 14 hours across the country,
right, like
an idiot with my kids in the car.
Well, I mean, listen, can I just ask why you even allowed this to occur? Why didn't you just let them go without the children? Like, why did you even allow this?
Well, it's not that he wanted to take them, though.
So
that was
what?
The whole thing.
I want a lot of things. I don't get it. I mean, I would have said no.
Well, I mean, my inclination was to obviously say no. But the thing is I can't keep squashing everything he wants to do with them just because I don't like it.
Well, it's not like he was asking to take them to a place not that far away. I mean, this is a significant adventure. So
I agree.
Here's the reality. The reality is that it probably won't last 2 weeks. And if it does, they'll be coming in on fumes and it won't be nearly as fun as they thought it would be. Road trips are the worst. Nobody likes them. They think they're super fun for about 30 minutes and they're like, oh my God, it's over. It's like they're over it and they can't wait to get out and get something to eat or whatever. He's going to underestimate how much they want food and stuff. It's going to be not nearly as exciting as he thinks.
Well, when I talked to them today, they were driving through New Mexico, I think, and Ryan was exhausted. He wanted to take a nap, but he kept making himself stay awake because there was so much cool stuff he wanted to see. Because they haven't seen like the desert and like, the clay plains and, all that kind of stuff. So it's exciting for them. And, in their mind, they think the only place to live is either California or Oklahoma. And so,
they haven't seen anything.
Everybody wants to move to Oklahoma because that's supposedly the promised land. And I'm like, that's a shithole, you guys. I'm just like, come on.
It is. No one moves to Oklahoma. They leave Oklahoma.
Oh, and we were even talking about the weather because, there's been tornado warnings for like the last 2 weeks.
I know.
But I mean, it's gone now. But I'm like, do you guys have a plan if something happens? I'm like, I don't want my kids hugging toilets, in case something bad happens.
No kidding.
And he's like, there's a storm shelter, a community storm shelter a mile from my parents' house.
Oh, so if you get there in a mile, it'll be fine.
At least it's something.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
But anyway, so I will be probably just in their face the whole time while they're gone.
Well, you have to take some time to do some things that you normally don't do. You can't. There's nothing for you to martyr about. Like you have time to yourself now. Now you can do things that you don't think you can do when there's children or when Victor's home. So you can literally like rearrange your room and you can go out and you can do all the things that you don't normally get to do when they're there, which is kind of nice.
I don't even know what that is.
Exactly.
In fact, our friend commented, he's like, why are you sitting on yours watching a movie about 4 dried up ones? Because I watched that movie Book Club.
Yeah.
It was funny, actually.
Really? Yeah, I mean,
I thought it was funny.
Think about all the stuff that you get to do when you get to watch all the shows you want to watch. You don't have to watch Fox News or whatever other ridiculous cartoons that you have to watch 100 times over. Like you can literally, it does take, I will say as a mom, it does take a minute to refocus on only yourself. But 2 weeks is a long time and you will have a lot of time to remember who you were and who you are not being a mom. And that
is true.
It takes time, but you will do it. Like, you and I talked about, you have signed up for these classes and you're going to make that a predominant focus for the next 2 weeks, which I think is amazing. But there are other things to do besides sit and worry about where your kids are. I mean, it will always be in the back of your mind, but you have options. You have a Muppet. You can get out there.
I don't even know. My Muppet doesn't even have a hole at the bottom.
Well, make a hole, dig a hole, create
Tear
the hole,
open,
make the hole. It's just like having your ears pierced. They're dormant. You can always pierce through that skin and make it happen if you need to. If the event requires it, you can make it happen. So anyway, all right. So although we haven't talked about it yet, producer Dub and I did go on an actual vacation. We went to Hawaii, and we'll talk about that on the Sunday show, as well as your fun emergency room visit. Our vacations could not have been more different.
Yeah, really.
But there was a lot of awkward moments going on. So
we both did some sightseeing, though.
We did, and I mean, the whole thing is an awkward moment, and we haven't even gotten to the awkward moment I had when we got home from the awkward moment trip. So much to talk about. That'll be on our Sunday show. But in celebration of vacation, we have our H-Uglee and Awkward Moments of the week, Sunburn edition.
Oh, God.
So I have 2. Here's the first one. It says, mine is more embarrassing than terrible, this story. One time, a few summers ago, I was in a rush and tried to put sunscreen on my own back. Long story short, I was only able to cover certain spots on my back, and the tan I got outlined looked like a claw reaching across my back and then scratching it off. So it looked like a long claw mark on the back of their back. Needless to say, It stuck with me for the entire summer.
I've seen those before where you can actually literally see the finger marks.
The hand and finger marks.
Of where the sunscreen went on.
Guess who has that?
You do?
Producer Deb.
Oh, why didn't he let you just put it on his back? Or did you refuse?
No. Day 2, he said, hey, I think I have this really weird sunburn mark. And I look and I go, yeah, you have a hand mark on your back. And he goes, yeah, can we like maybe fix that somehow? So can we sunscreen or fix it? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So it was faded by the end of the week, but he had the nice big white palm print on the back in the middle of his neck. On his back.
Oh my God.
Yes.
I always wanted to do that thing they did in Police Academy where they sunscreen the word dork on his chest.
That would have been funny. Here's the second one. It says, okay, this person completely deserves this, by the way. I just want you to know that if I'd seen this human at some sporting event I was at, I would be like going, good, you deserve it. It says, I was watching Little League tournaments and for whatever reason, I took my socks and shoes off. I ended up with very burnt feet. They swelled up 3 times their size, and I had blisters on the tops of my feet. I could not wear shoes for days. Pant legs touching it even hurt. I will never forget it. Nor will those around you who had to witness your bare ass feet at a place that you don't have bare feet.
God, that's gross. Did you see that video of that little kid on the airplane? And that person had their feet in the crack, and he's like, ew, that's stinky.
Oh, my God.
And he poked his head through, and he's just like, what are you doing? And then slowly you saw the foot retrieve, and then the dad films himself, and he is cracking up laughing.
I'm glad.
Well, I mean, only a kid could get away with saying something like that, but you know the rest of the world, if that shit happens, like...
Oh, no, I would
like spill my drink on it or something.
Oh, I would say it completely. I would be like, what the fuck are you doing? There was some low simmering aggression going on our plane trip home. We had some really awful passengers that...
Oh my God.
There was no like, sir, you need to sit down. There was nothing like that, but bad behavior to the point of major annoyance. And it was, I mean, I'll tell you about it next week, but there were a couple of people. There was the woman who couldn't stop peeing. There was the man who refused to switch seats with his wife who couldn't stop peeing. So he had to disrupt the entire row every 20 minutes. And it's like, could you just give your wife the aisle seat? Could you just take the middle row? Be a man about it and let her have the damn row. She obviously has a UTI. She's obviously uncomfortable.
Jesus.
Give her a break, you know? I mean,
Tell her to stop drinking so damn much.
She wasn't drinking. She was drinking nothing. She was ill. She was clearly having a bladder issue. Like, it was not normal.
I just would have asked the flight attendant for a different seat.
Well, it wasn't... Anyway,
was it like a packed flight?
Yeah, but it wasn't our row. I'm just saying that it was across from us. And then there was the woman who would not stop getting out of her shit on the over compartment. She kept getting up and opening the compartment to get shit out of her bag or whatever.
I'd be like, what is it that you need? Take it all out.
She had her boobs in Malia's face every 30 minutes almost. And Malia was like, done. She was like, get your shit and get on with your life. Like, she had enough. And then the husband who wouldn't let the wife pee or wouldn't let the wife have the aisle seat, whenever she got up to pee, he would stand up and start stretching in the aisleways. I'm like, why do people do... Look, I realize it's a long flight. It's a 5-hour flight. I realize it's lengthy. But how many times do you really need to do that? I mean, you were prepared for this. You knew you were going to be flying for 5 hours. Like,
I
why?
take so much fucking anxiety medicine. I am like dead to the world, especially on a 5-hour flight. I'd be like, wake me up whenever we're dead or landing.
5 hours. I peed twice in 5 hours because Daryl and I had a cocktail. So, of course, that stirs the cockles of the bladder. But normally, you know, it's I could sit there and not move. But
yeah, give me my headphones. My head will be tilted back. My mouth will be wide open, and I'll be like,
exactly. But speaking of the sunburns, I did get a really bad sunburn once.
You know what? Yeah, the one, and I know you even had a filter on there, and I'm just like, your back is really red.
That's Mackenzie. That was
Mackenzie. That was Mackenzie?
Yes.
Oh, God, I thought that was you.
No, a lot of people thought that, but we do look a lot alike. But no, that was Kenzie.
Well, you have the same skin.
Yes,
so.
yes. No, that was her. There's a picture of her facing the sea on our catamaran, and that's her. But anyway, no, but I did get sunburned. But no, the sunburn that I got was when I was 16, and I thought it would be fun to go skiing in shorts because it was the spring. And so I went skiing in shorts and a long sleeve sweatshirt. And I got so sunburned on my thighs. And what sucked is that cheer tryouts were that following week.
Oh, so you had to slap your thighs.
No, it was my inner thighs.
Oh, thank God.
And they were so sunburned, and I had blisters everywhere. Everywhere. It was first of all, it was really embarrassing because I had blisters on my inner thighs. That's pretty disgusting.
That's gross.
Not to mention it was bright red, like someone had spray painted red on my thighs.
Yikes.
And on top of it, it was summer. By the time, it became immediately summer when, the next week. And so when I would sweat, because I was peeling, I had all my sweat was under my peeling skin.
Ugh.
It was so disgusting.
So it's like water under paint.
It was. That's exactly what it looked like. And I vowed never again to get sunburned on my legs. Never again.
When my first husband and I got married, we went to Hawaii for our honeymoon. You can't get sunburns like that, like Hawaii sunburns.
Oh my God, it's
anywhere
brutal.
else.
Brutal.
So I got sunburned really bad in 3 different parts. One, I think it's because my hair is kind of thin. My scalp was so effing burned.
Because you have blonde hair.
I had to wear a hat the whole time. The second was, they don't tell you this, but we drove around the whole island. My ear got so burnt, it looked like a potato chip. You have to put sunscreen on your ears.
You do.
Or at least I did.
No, I did. Oh.
Mm-hmm. And then third, we went snorkeling and we had put our regular sunscreen on, but the flippers, the rubber for some reason rubs off the sunscreen. The top of my feet, just in this weird little rectangular shape.
Oh no.
Were so burned.
I can't wear shoes.
The flipper had rubbed off the sunscreen. And I was angry. I'm like, I'm Mexican. What is going on?
I know. There's nothing like a Hawaiian sunburn. That sun is scorching.
Something about the dang equator or something.
I don't know, man. But I mean, we thought we were so good. We're like, hey, nobody's getting sunburned. And then Daryl and I went on. We'll talk about it next week. But we did a lot of exercising, and so we would go for a walk, and then we'd go jump in the lagoon afterwards. And so we were swimming. It was 8 a.m. And so we're swimming around, the water's warm, and it's like, oh, this is so nice. And it's so freeing because with the lagoon, nothing can get in. So I know there's no sharks in there. So I can swim and have a good time and not worry about creatures. We were there for almost 3 hours.
Wow.
When we came in, I was like, oh shit, I am sunburned. I mean, my arms were so red. People were staring at me at the airport. I mean, it was really red. So, anyway.
Dear.
So all right. So next week we'll recap your fun emergency room visit, and I will tell you a little bit about Hawaii, and that will be for Sunday's show with a plethora of ugly and awkward moments, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. And then maybe we'll get some celeb news if we can.
Oh, we have to do celeb news. We will make it happen. We will make it happen. Yes. Okay.
So, all right, friends. Well, I think that's it. It's going to be 4th of July before you know it. So you might want to visit Amazon through our uglytruth.com link and pick up yourself some fun, patriotic attire and decorations and whatnot.
Yes.
And then Avon is having some great sales right now on makeup. I know that my daughter's going to be having a birthday party, and I'm going to purchase little makeup kits for all her little attendants.
That's so cute. What a cute idea.
I know, because, it's going to be a sleepover, so we're going to give it to them when they walk in, and then we'll do makeup later in the evening.
You know what? Oh, my God. Totally thought about this. Why don't we have Malia come and do their eyes?
That would be fun.
She's so good at the cat eye, and using all Avon products, we can Instagram it.
Well, it's going to be at the Hyatt Regency downtown Sacramento.
Fancy.
So.
Oh my God. I can't wait. We're going to totally talk about that when it's time. I can't wait.
That would be fun. So head on over to lipandclip.com and see what kind of new palettes and bronzers and things to get yourself sun ready for the summer season, and do all that stuff. So other than that, we will see you next Sunday because we have so much more to tell you. I mean, taking a break was nice, but I mean, my gosh, we have a ton to talk about.
So much to talk about.
We'll talk about it on Sunday. Until then, we'll see you soon. Bye. Bye.
Thanks for listening and sharing the show. See you next time on The Ugly Truth.